I'm up to Alpo to my second knuckle. My dog is belching over there. It's always exciting to have my next guest on the show. He is certainly one of the funniest men America has ever produced, one of the television's great comics, flourishing on Broadway at the moment in Four in a Garden. And will you welcome, please, the great Sid Caesar. How do you do, sir?
All right.
Good to see you. And the show's doing nicely, and you're all busy. And do you fool around any? I mean, on stage, of course. In the playing of it, you add things from night to night.
Not too much, no.
Yeah.
I have a cold now, so you have to forgive me.
Yeah.
I've been fighting it over the weekend, but it's all right now.
That's all right. I don't mind guests coming on with a cold at all. Do you mind if I talk to you from behind the bottom dial? So, I wondered about that because you're such a, so you're considered a kind of improvising comic, I suppose, and yet you're also a perfectionist on the other hand. And
well, you see, when you work with, it's basically a two-person show.
Yeah.
And Carol and myself. And when you work with just the two people on the stage, you must come up to performance. There's no way of not coming up to performance because you have to set up her lines, she has to set up my lines, I have to set up her moves and stuff like that. So you can't let down for a performance, even though you, and you mustn't go too far astray because of the written script, because you may throw the other person.
Yeah.
So in a bigger play, you can fool around a little bit more, but when it's just two people, it's kind of rough.
Say, I was looking through your dossier. We did some research on you. I found out you were a theater doorman at one time?
Yes, I was a doorman at the Capitol Theater, and I was getting my 802 card. I was going to be a musician.
Saxophone?
Yes. My hero at that time was Marcel Muley, who you never heard about.
No?
But he played the concertina to the camera, and I wanted to be a great saxophonist. So I wanted to study harmony theory, orchestration, and the saxophone. And to get in, you can't work as a steady job as a musician in 802 for 6 months. So I took a job as a doorman at the Capitol Theater. And I was at the Capitol Theater, and I only got the job because they made an overcoat, and that guy left because he got cold.
They had an overcoat and
they made an overcoat, a uniform, and it got cold. It started to get around November, and this guy said, not for me. So I'm standing there as an usher, and I said, you're promoted.
You fit the coat.
You fit the coat.
And if you had been another size, I would be sitting here talking to somebody else who...
no, that had nothing to do with it.
No, it wouldn't be
It was
that.
just so what happened was this. It was my first night. It was my first night. Usually when you're the new man, you get the word shift, which is the closing shift, So I had the closing shift, and the guy before me said, when we lock up tonight, he says, take in the bus stands, which are solid concrete.
Bus stands?
The bus stands.
Oh, the thing that says bus stop?
Yeah, bus stop. Take those in, which says no parking, and get the key to the curtain and lock it up. I said, right. I didn't know, so I took the two, solid cement.
Yeah.
Took them up, put them in the theater. Then I went and I said, you got the key to the curtain, I got to lock up. The guy said, what? I said, the key to the curtain, I got to lock it up. Oh, he says, well, you got to go upstairs, go to see Sam. Now I went through Sam, I went through John, I went through Al. There are 15 different guys. I went all the way up to the Flies. It took about an hour. Yeah. And I said, well, you got to see him. So I went all the way up to the guy, and finally I went up, near the projection booth. I said, have you got the key to the curtain? He says, oh, you're the new guy, huh? Well, okay, it's a joke. And I said, and I got mad, I said, I went through all this, and it's, that's terrible to put a kid through. I was I was 17. So there was another kid, about a week later came in, somebody else left. And I said, now it was my job. I said, take in the bus stops and get the key to the curtain and lock it up. And by the way, after that, take in the box office. Now watch. Now this kid went through the same thing I did all the way around. Now I went upstairs and told the guy, you got the key to the curtain? The guy says, no. Well, I got to take in the box office. Well, he white, turned, fainted, boom, because, you know, he thought the box office was robbed. So I got even with him.
Today you have to take in the box office, though.
Not
it will
really.
Be robbed,
They're not taking in that much
and
money.
That's a terrible way to treat a new kid. And everyone knows the curtain has a combination lock on it anyway. So
that's right.
Did you, you know, I must ask you this. I've always wanted to know about this. I used to, whenever you would play an inanimate object, like a machine or a slot, you played a slot machine one time. You've played telephones. This is the only man I know who has played a white sidewall tire. How do you get into that? Do you study white sidewall tires that you've known?
No, it's an idea that popped into my mind one time. It's not actually, it's not a funny story. I just happened to get an idea of a white wall tire on a big limousine, you know. And he's, boy, I'm great, you know. Look at me going. And, gee, we go to the best places. We go to the opera. We go to, you know, we go to the best clubs. And I'm never smacked up against he's the right rear tire. And he said, I never get smacked up. I never get touched. Boy, it's great. And then all of a sudden, something happens, and he has to go out to the mountains all the time now. Now he's going to the mountains after a couple of years. And he doesn't go to the same place. He's got a different garage. And one trip on a way up to the mountains, it's a hot day. And he sees his buddy that's, you know, the left rear tire, and he's starting to get tread, and he's starting to puff. And he says, stay with it, stay with it. It's a long story, I'm making it short. He says, stay with it, Lefty, stay with it. Come on, I'll help you, I'll take more, you know. He said, I can't, Righty, I can't hold out anymore. Oh, please, Lefty, you can do it, Just went bang! And Lefty went. Oh. And they just jacked him up and took him and threw him on the side of the road, and they took on and put on a spare. And, you know, he was in the trunk all the time, so he doesn't know what's going on. And I couldn't get acquainted with him, you know. We weren't of the same, he didn't know, and I never got to know him, you know. And then all of a sudden, you know, one day he was going up, and I started to feel like, I'm going to go. And I said, well, what's the difference? I don't know anybody anymore. I'm the last tire. Bang! And I go. And they come out and jack me up and leave me on the side of the road. And then a couple of kids come over, and they pick me up, and they roll me around. They roll me into a yard, and tie me up to a tree, and I become a swing.
That's a nice story. And
Just a nice story.
Have you ever been afraid that you might stick as one of those things? You know how when kids, when you cross your eyes, your parents say your eyes will stick. Did you ever fear that you might suddenly get you were so convincing as a machine that you would never be able to get out of it?
No. I don't get that wound up. I just say, a machine is a machine. A chair is a chair. I've done chairs. I've done movie screens. I've done everything. But you get into what the animal or the object is about and what it thinks about. You know, like the chewing machine gets beat up. Sure. Every time, you know. So a cat, I did once the cat that lays on the pillow and has got it made. And the alley cat looks up and goes, you got it made, huh? Well, you see me because I have. And the alley, you know, just sits and eats. And this alley cat has to scrounge for a living. And he's looking into every can. And he looks up there. And it's the same thing as the millionaire in the limousine and the hobo. The millionaire is going, boy, he hasn't got a worry in the world. You know, and I got to go to the office now and figure. And the hobo's looking, gee, he's got a car, he got food, everything. Boy, that's great. So it's, you know, the grass is always greener. That's the same thing that I use with inanimate objects. The grass is always greener.
I think it'd be confusing to be all the things you become and all the languages. Last time you were here, we suddenly became German, and then we did
German, French, and Italian.
Yeah.
We can do a few more.
Okay. Do you do Swedish?
Swedish, ja.
You do?
Je bent het gevoel gehullen, in andere gevoel gehullen.
Das ist nicht mehr würdig, näher den Beinen.
Bin ich nicht drin,
Ja, küssen, aber nicht mehr Öl. Kann man Öle immer merken.
Immer merken, commercial, ja. I know commercial in every language.
Welcome.
Every language is commercial.
Coming back after this message of interest. I think. Talking with Sid Caesar, and Muhammad Ali will be joining us, and Norman Mailer and Caterina Valenti. But you just started to tell me something during the break that you're going to be doing a show.
I think around September, I'm going to start filming at the Sid Caesar Library, and that'll be in color, and that'll be all the shows that I've done. They've never been done before. I mean, they've only been seen once. And
these are shows that already exist,
yes.
but people will be able to see that.
Right.
That's great.
We're going to do them over in color, so they'll be, suitable for color.
And this will be seen around?
Yeah, this will be seen in syndication, and through my own company it'll be going around.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea, and I think it's people, because what's going on, I don't know. I really don't know what's going on television, but I think what the audiences are, I'm not trying to be what they call a prophet or anything like that, but I think that there is a definite lack, and I'm not putting down any comedy show of any type, because they're all trying to do good. I'm not saying, you know, I'm not putting anybody on a, but I'm saying there's a lack, a definite lack of, maybe because the American people are scared. I really think they are. And it's a terrible thing when people get scared. They're afraid to laugh, they're afraid to cry, they're afraid to do anything. Okay. They get emotional. They just, you know, they take everything in, you could, the bomb dropped, fine, okay, well, all right, good. All right, fine. Did it hurt my neighborhood? No. Okay, fine, that's all right. Well, that's all right, fine. Well, the tax is going to go up $2,000. That's all right, fine. We'll just do that, and we'll sit like this here. The house is on fire. Am I on fire? No. Okay. Then I can that's all I want. That's it. Am I on fire? The rest of this house? Okay. As long as get me out before the fire gets onto me. That's all. And I think we've become so detached that we can't laugh at each other. We can't. I mean, really, I think we've been so polarized and pulverized that we need comedy, actual, real, just plain down-to-earth comedy, you know?
Yeah, it's just.
And I'm not saying that I'm going to be the savior or somebody else is going to be the savior or anything, but I'm saying that there's a definite need for it, and it should be, honestly, because the people have been really smashed with all kinds of, I mean, horrible headlines, and the news is almost a repeat every night, actually. So I think that we should take away all the bonds that we have on comedy now and let them go. I mean, they've taken them off and they've shown all kinds of nude this and nude that, and but that to me is not comedy. That is not.
Nudity is not funny to you.
It's definitely not funny. That's not a funny subject.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're in, you know, an entanglement. It's easy to get laughs with nudity. It's very, very easy. You know, oh, gee whiz, look at that. Wow. Oh, I didn't mean. Oh, I'm sorry, sweetheart. You know, that's all. That's the easiest thing in the world to get a laugh with. But to get a laugh with ingenuity and something that's makes you think a little bit, makes you feel it. Yeah, that's him. Oh, yeah, this is him. Or this is my uncle, or this is my friend, or this is me, or if they have the courage to say that. But this is what I think is lacking today. Not that we should be current, but we should be together as a country, you know, because we used to laugh at each other. My God, we used to have loads of laughs. But I don't see it anymore. I really don't. And I look for it.
I'm glad you're going to do those then, because there's so many.
Well, I'm not saying that mine is going to be. I just think, and I hope that the people will want to laugh, because you see, to me, a big thing, and I don't want to be, because I know very little about this field, and I'm not saying anything at all. But to me, when the bank rate goes down to 5 1/4, where a year ago it was up to 8 1/2 and 9 prime. Yeah. I don't profess to be any economic, but I mean, there's a big. They're trying to turn the people around, but you see. Unfortunately, when you get people into a habit, it's hard to break that habit. And people they get very scared and they put in their money and they're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere, they're not doing anything. And that's it.
And when money is tight, is it harder to laugh? It certainly is for me.
Of course, because not only that, because the financial and the economic pressures are on everybody. And this makes it hard for the people to turn around and try to laugh.
It's strange to see a man who's made me laugh so much be serious. It's a very curious thing. I always think.
I think, you know,
I think of you as
I can add, you know, on the proposition that
you can actually.
Sure, going on the supposition that 1 and 1 are 2, you know.
Yeah. I think of you as almost about the most unlimited comedian there is. Are there any things you can't do that perhaps I could help you with? I mean, for example, are there any accents that you have trouble with, or anything like that I could help? Is there any one dialect that you can't do?
One
just
dialect,
to find out what your limitations are.
Like Northeast Afghanistan.
Northeast Afghanistan?
Yeah.
Oh, because of the placement on the left side of the mouth.
That's right, yeah.
Oh, well, that's easy.
Go ahead.
Well, it's actually quite simple. It goes, das nicht hören, das müssen hören.
You're playing
Came out a little Swedish, didn't it?
Yeah, a little Swedish.
Yeah, well, that's the trouble with the
playing backwards.
Yeah. Have you ever listened to, you know what I think is impossible? You double talk in those languages. You claim you don't speak them. But could you do the same thing in English?
Let's do a talk show right now in Japan, right? You'll be the moderator.
Oh, that's
and I'll be a guest, and I'll come in Japan.
You're the guest?
No, you're the moderator, right?
Yeah. Sitä ne minkä syitä no desu ka? No se ne. Most amusing, Mr. Caesar. You'll find my language funny, I see.
Where are your regiment?
Did you ever meet Richard Lew or those actors? We have a local station message, and we will. Oh, you've got to go do your. Wait a minute. Mr. Caesar has to do his show.
Yeah.
Well, not actually here for us, but Sid, thank you for coming by. And northeastern Afghanistan, I will brush up on it, and I'll help you out with that. Thank you for coming. Okay. We'll be right back with Muhammad Ali. Stay where you are.